ping-pong para pelear. Siempre a la orden del Chapo Guzmán. En la vagancia del Cholo Iván. Son puro Chapo, Chapo.
Yo, what's up, you guys? What's going on? Welcome back to the Nonsense and No Confidence. Today we got a special guest, someone who really works behind the scenes, building artists from the ground up and doing it in a different way. We got my guy from Vibrant Village in the building. What's good? What's
How's
up, brother?
good?
How you doing?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. So, disclaimer, I will put, he wants to remain anonymous, but we're going to put a little, I'm going to put the logo of his company that he has partnered with the previous guest here on his face. So, because he likes to be behind the scenes. We talked a little bit before recording. So, speaking of that, why do you like being like anonymous a little bit?
Well, pretty much is like when we made the Vibrant Village music page and all that, we, at least myself, I wanted to make it more about the music and the artist and pretty much it. You know, when you think about the Vibrant Village, I want people to think about the artists that come up there, like Los Desconocidos, Autoridad, Caballeros, all the groups that we posted. Like, I want people just to think about that in the music. I don't really want to be popular, quote unquote famous or anything. Like I said, I like laying low, making it about the music, making it about the groups, and that only. I like, Mika doesn't like it when I say it, but like I like to say that I don't matter. Like, I don't want to be the face and the person that people think of and whatnot. I just like to lay low, make it about the music, and that's that.
Yeah, I respect that, bro. Because like, there's like, I know all these major label companies and stuff like that. There's always one person that's like the face of it, and he's always the one in the pictures when they're doing signings and all that. That's pretty cool. Like, I seen all you guys. I seen literally, as like you said right now. You see mine, and I see your videos pop up with Desconocidos, and then the way you guys are pushing more movement for Autoridad Elegante, right? Yeah, and they got a good sound too. So like, I'm tuned in every time you post something because I like what they do, and I like what you guys stand for. So it's pretty cool. So like, and if you guys have any grupos, hit them up and see if you guys can work something out. And they post consistently. It's always like almost every day there's different videos behind the scenes with Desconocidos, and he's always on site too, like on set when they're recording too. No,
yeah, I've been there for I like to go to the gigs at least once a week, whether it's Desconocidos or Autoridad. Whoever hits me up first, pretty much I like to pull up and be at the gig, film behind the scenes. Whenever the Desconocidos have any big events, like at clubs or at the ranchos or anything, I've been going a lot more too and try to document behind the scenes, as you guys seen in the vlogs. But yeah, I like to be involved, going to the music video shoots as well. All that stuff that basically not everybody could get to see and or experience, because you're just a fan and all, and people think that you can't see that type of stuff. So that's why I kind of go and get some footage behind the scenes and feed the fan bases overall to get a POV of what it looks like to hang around with them behind the scenes.
Hell yeah, that's fucking sick, dude. What is something about you people don't really know, just since you remain anonymous and you like being behind the scenes?
I mean, I don't know. Something that people don't really know is I guess I've kind of been involved with like the music scene here all my entire life. Not as of a musician or anything crazy, but more as like a fan. Mm-hmm. I was blessed enough to grow up with really close friends that became very respected musicians out here, like Miguel, for example, with Desconocidos. I've known him since I was very young as well. And my other close friend, Horacio Solis, who's the primera voz for Nuevo Régimen right now. He also won Tengo Mucho Talento about 10 years ago. Same thing as well. I've kind of seen their whole journeys and seen a lot of the musicians in the scene here in AZ. And, I just always kind of been around it, I guess, but never wanted to partake or anything or involved in any way until recently. But I guess one little cool fact is I kind of always been around, but never did much with it.
Did you want to be a músico at one point?
Not really. Like, I play guitar on myself on my own time and all. My boy Horacio showed me, but as a musician and all, not really. I mean, when I was in high school, I kind of tried making a little, guitarra group, but we had one practice and it was just like, yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Así pasa, you know.
Yeah, and it's just it's otro rollo, you know. It's a whole different lifestyle. You know, you got to go gig, you know, go gig the next day, possibly do all this stuff, and it's a lot of stuff that I just didn't want to do. Plus, I don't have the talent for it, so yeah, I'll leave it to the musicians to do that.
Hablando de un invitado de tu primo Miguel, how much of an influence was he to you to be behind the scenes and start this vibrant village?
Well, pretty much a big inspiration, I guess, since, like I said, I grew up around him my entire life and seen his whole journey as going from a starter to where he is now as, you know, one of the best musicians probably in the Valley. But, you know, like I said, I've always been around him with the whole music stuff and everything that he would do. When I was trying to do this whole Vibrant Village stuff, I went into a lot of groups and I went to a lot of people to, you know, run it by with them and see if they would let me experiment with them. And no one really ever gave me the chance. And the person that I least expected would be Miguel, because how big Desconocidos are. I didn't think he would give me a chance, but he actually did. And he was just like, no, like, come try whatever you have in mind with me and let's see what happens. So, you know, I kind of did. We discussed about it and, you know, it went from there.
Hablando, you went to school. You said you went to ASU?
Yeah, I went to ASU from 2018 and graduated in 2022.
Well, congratulations. What'd you study?
Initially, I was doing like medicine, pre-med, and a semester into that, I realized that wasn't going to happen. And I kind of out of just, you know, whatever, I just chose criminology and justice. And I did that. You know, I've always been a very big, like, writer, and you know, I've always like been good at like reading and learning stuff and doing my, you know, quote unquote essays and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I majored in criminology and justice.
And so you got your bachelor's in that?
Yeah, my bachelor's in science for that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
First college graduate on the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going back to you doing how much to pre-med for 6 months, like what about being there made you be like, you know what, it's not for me?
I realized immediately that if you want to be like a doctor or anything like that, because, you know, when you grow up, people always tell you like, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be something like that, you know, something crazy. And I fell for that and I said, well, I want to be a doctor. And, you know, when I started doing these classes and was, you know, in these classes with people that you could tell that that's what they really wanted to do, like, you know, you have to be prepared to go home after class and do assignments basically all day and all night and live that pretty much. You know, it has to be your passion, obviously. And I realized right away, like, you know, if I'm going to be doing something 24/7 all day and putting all my time into it, I was just like, I don't think I'm going to do it with medicine. I'm going to do it with something else that I'm at least passionate about, you know? And like I said, when I switched over to criminology, I was like, well, I've always been interested in like learning, you know, history and reading stuff and writing about it and all. So I guess I'll do that.
What did graduating mean to you?
You know, to me, honestly, it wasn't anything crazy. It just proved to me that I was able to begin something and finish it. You know, I only went to college because I got a full ride scholarship because of it.
Oh, for real? What'd you get the scholarship for?
Just for my academics.
Okay.
Having a good GPA, having a good SAT score.
You graduated with honors in high school and everything?
Yeah, honors, all that. I was just always involved heavily in high school. Like in high school, I was involved with band as well. You know,
what instrument did you play in band?
I played. I started off with saxophone, and then I went over to tuba, and then I learned trumpet, and then I did a little bit of drums for jazz band. And yeah, I did a little bit of everything.
So you were around music for everywhere then?
Yeah,
not just like with your friends or anybody, like even in school.
Yeah. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a very big fan about music. I guess just to dive in very quickly, growing up, my dad was a very big fan of music. I mean, he had an entire CD collection, and not just like norteño or, you know, corridos and stuff. He also listened to like mariachi, banda. Sometimes he'd pop in his country CDs. Some days he'd pop in hip hop. Sometimes, you know, it'd be completely different. So, growing up, I've always been around, and like I said, all my friends were musicians. And when it came time to join band in elementary school, my dad right away was like, "Are you going to do it?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I am."
Sign me up.
And I was just always in it. I always loved like the music and the art of it and playing it, and it was just something I've always been around with.
Yeah, I played the saxophone in elementary, and then in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to play because I don't know. High school was like different for me, and I was like, you know what, I'll do tuba, and I started playing the tuba, but I didn't play the original one. I played the one with the seated one.
The seated, okay.
Yeah, so which is pretty cool. As soon as you said tuba, I was like, damn, that takes me back too. I was like, oh, yeah.
I mean, I was a very big, like, I don't care. I was a very big band nerd. Like, I really enjoyed it a lot. I did marching band. I did concert band. Even at one point during my junior year, I was just enjoying it a lot and practicing so much that I was even trying out for like DCI, which is like professional marching band. It's a whole thing that exists, but I went and auditioned, and I didn't make it, but I made the B tier team, quote unquote, I guess. And I was there, and then when a person from like the main, like the team, wasn't able to go on tour anymore, because you go on like on a whole tour for like 3 months just performing like at schools and stuff.
Yeah.
And they asked me like, well, do you want to jump up and tour with us basically this summer? And after they told me how much it was, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
So you had to pay for your own stuff?
Oh yeah, it's one of those things where it's I hate to say it, but it's for people with money. It's for people that are able to pay.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's like a $5,000 fee to go on tour for the summer,
and that covers everything. Your rooms and
that doesn't cover your rooms. You tour on a bus, and you would go sleep in like gyms, like school gyms. All that covers is like you basically being in the band. They rent you your instrument, and that's pretty much it. Everything else you have to basically pay for. So yeah,
I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't do marching band, because I heard puro billete
everywhere.
So before we started recording, you mentioned that, or earlier, you mentioned that you applied to a bunch of like record labels, and trying to help out, like do behind the scenes for a bunch of grupos, and then they would say no. How would you take that rejection? Or
I took it well. I mean, like Mika mentioned in his podcast, after I graduated, I didn't really know what to do with my life, really. I didn't know what I was going to do or anything, but I knew that I had to get a job, obviously, and get some income at least. I didn't want to just sit on my ass and not do anything. So I went and got a job with a freight brokerage company that's all like hardcore cold calling. You make $150 a day, try to sell, and you either do it or you get fired. So that's what I was kind of like trained and was doing. So I got so used to just calling people all day and people telling me like, go fuck yourself, screw you, fuck you, go die, hang up on me. Cool, on to the next. Oh, okay. So when I was doing it with this, when I started, really taking it serious, like I wanted to do the Vibrant Village for real, and I was reaching out to grupos and stuff and applying to labels and everything, many people rejected me, and some grupos were like, no, well, we feel like you don't have the experience. Like I got told that by some people, like, we feel like you don't have the experience, or it shows that you don't know much about like the music industry and stuff. And it's just like, well, they're not wrong, but that's fine. I'll keep going to the next one, and somebody will give me a chance eventually.
Yeah. Great mindset, because when I first started the podcast, también, like I would ask people, and they're like, como que they would say yeah, y luego when it came down to it, they would just like back out, like not throwing shade to anybody, but like, pues it is what it is, like we're not big or anything, it's like a local.
Yeah, no, pues es que así es la cosa, I always tell Miguel, when we started the Vibrant Village and we would reach out to people or artists, or what we're doing right now is we're reaching out to clubs out of state and trying to get them gigs, which we've had a little bit of traction and success, but obviously we reach out to people and they reject us and they don't want to give us a chance or whatnot. But I always tell Miguel, they always come back. That's what they would always tell us in sales as well. Like, who cares? They always come back. Don't give up hope. They always come back. And it's happened to us where we reach out to clubs, they leave us on scene, but we post a post and it does really good. Like,
oh, okay.
Like when we posted Los Cuadros recently with Desconocidos, we got a lot of people messaging us back like, oh, well, how much is it going to be? Or, wanting more details. And it's like, okay, we got you on the hook now. Like, you're going to come back.
Yeah, it's always good to just leave the bait, leave it there. They'll come and bite it. Have you and Miguel, when you guys started this, have you and him ever thought about just like quitting? Was there moments?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, there's been many times where I'm doing this because I'm doing it out of like, I guess, like hobby and for fun, out of my own time. And there's been times where it's like, maybe this might not be it. Maybe, I've had those thoughts in my mind many times. Like, maybe you're not meant to work in music. Maybe that calling isn't, as you think it is. But, you just gotta, beat those thoughts overall. Keep, calm down, relax, and just tell yourself, like, you know what? Maybe I do belong here. Maybe, instead of thinking in a bad way, how about, tomorrow I'm going to do this instead, or this weekend we're going to try this at this gig and try these songs or try something else. And maybe that'll get us some traction going on. And, just having those thoughts overall and not giving up. And it has been paying off, just to keep going and, adjusting and all, pivoting. It all falls into place, I feel, if you don't give up and have that negative mindset.
So now that you've been doing Vibrant Village and working with músicos and obviously being there for Desconocidos and Autoridad Elegante, what was that phrase that you said right now that, oh, you don't know a lot about the music industry? Like, what was he referring to now that you've been working behind the scenes?
I don't think it's been much. Like, a lot of what I was doing in sales, it's crazy, bro. A lot of the things that I was doing in sales where I was calling, depending how the conversation go, it's like, oh, this is a potential lead right here, as we say. And then you just keep moving it down the pipeline and close it until you finally get what you want. Whether it's you sell something or, you get a number to the right person or something like that, little things like that. And that's how a lot of that is in the music industry. It's all reaching out to people, finding who the person is you want to get in touch with. Once you get in touch with them, you start going with that. And that falls into place with everything, whether you're reaching out to musicians, whether you're reaching out to clubs, whether, you're reaching out to a podcast or anything that you're trying to get on. It's been more of the same. I feel like when people were telling me that, it's because people expect like a major corporation label to come and do something for them or, be the ones to move their music career, which is, you can't blame them because that's what people have been told their whole lives. A label's going to come sign you and do everything for you or market you and do something for you. They've worked with so-and-so artists, and it's like, here, I haven't worked with anybody, but, if they gave me the chance, which like people have now, it really wasn't anything different from what I was already doing, if that makes sense.
No, yeah. Again, going back to them saying, oh, like, you don't know the industry, you don't know this, you don't know that. I know you're connecting it a lot with what you were previously doing. And have those same people come back, like you said, and they come and hit you up like, hey, we thought we were wrong.
Yeah, they always, like I said, they always come back. Don't ever give up, because they always will come back once they start seeing traction. That's kind of how it was. Well, I'm not going to say the groups or anything, but there was two people specifically that I went to run it by the Vibrant Village idea and everything with, and they shut me down. And once I started doing it with Miguel, and we started seeing the views go up, we started seeing more gigs being booked, we started getting reached out from other groups, and the collaborations happened and all that stuff. That's all because we had content for them to post. And later on, once these groups started getting some gigs or events or something, they started reaching out to me and just be like, hey, like, can you pull up? Like, can you take some footage? Can you, do that? We want you to do this, or we think that it'd be cool if you could do that for us now. And it's just like, I'm not going to be like, nah, screw you. Like, you didn't give me a chance. It's like, no, cool. You see what I could do now, or you see what we could do. So let's show you what you kind of missed out initially.
Yeah. And I know at first you said you guys didn't charge because you guys were just trying to get out, right? Trying to like start something.
Yeah.
And do you guys charge now?
I'm gonna be honest. No, we don't charge anything. At first, the Vibrant Village has changed a lot since we started it. It changes like every day, I think. I guess that's what part of the journey when you're starting off a company, that you're trying to see where you're going to go with it. Mm-hmm. But initially we wanted to, be kind of like a tiny desk or Colors. I don't know if you've seen those before, where they're just showcasing like all these artists and they perform live and whatnot. that's kind of what we wanted to do at first. But since I'm like kind of like a one-man team, and me gets so busy with his other businesses and Desconocidos, you know, he's a very busy musician. It was starting to get a little hectic, especially this past fall, where my DMs were just like 5 groups, like, hey, can you pull up tonight? Can you pull up tonight? Tomorrow? And it's just like, bro, I'm already booked. And you know, I just don't feel like it's right to like charge anybody right now too, because what I really want to focus on is building organic fan bases. That's what our motto is, building organic fan bases. And you know, during the winter, me and Miga sat back and we're just like, okay, things are getting a little hectic, you know, let's pivot into focusing on specific groups for now, and then once we kind of have a good traction going on, we can start adding more groups again and focusing on people, because you just can't, that I feel like that's what a lot of like major labels do. They sign all these groups and they have all these groups, and you can't get to each one specifically for a good amount of time. You just can't like go with somebody for like a day or two. You just be like, oh, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Okay, see you guys in like a few months. We're going to focus on this group now. So we didn't want to do that. So we wanted to, you know, focus very good on people, keep focusing them on them. And then once we, you know, have a good, you know, thing going on, we could start adding more people and giving them the same thing without taking anything away from the current group, so that makes sense.
So how many groups are you guys marketing for now?
Right now, Desconocidos, Autoridad Elegante, and MAD is a upcoming rap group who they're going to drop their debut single hopefully in April. Oh. And because that's what I wanted to do, rap. Like, I don't really wanted to do like the whole norteño stuff. Initially, I wanted to do like rap and pop. But, you know, since Miguel was the only chance I had at the moment, I went ahead with that, and it's been going good, thankfully, though. I love it. So, but I really do want to dip into rap and other genres, so I'm helping them right now as well. But we want to start, you know, getting with more groups eventually here in the next, you know, few weeks, hopefully.
Talking about the industry, what is something you don't like about it?
Well, I feel like I could be here all day to talk about that.
The main one.
Gatekeeping 100%. I feel like that's something that has slowed a lot of careers for a lot of potential artists that had a lot of you know, potential to be something big, but because of gatekeeping, certain people in certain positions not thinking that you're not qualified to be the artist that they think that you can't be or something, like that just doesn't sit right with me. You know, I hate the whole gatekeeping thing, or you know, when you're trying to do something, you're just like, no, let's not, you know, let them in here and perform at this club or whatever. Just, that's the thing I don't like overall, the gatekeeping. And that's kind of what we're here to kind of demolish and get rid of. You know, we don't gatekeep anything. You've seen Miguel. He, you know, if he could help any group, he'll help them at all he can. You know, he's not a gatekeeper. Man. We're not gatekeepers. We love to help people. Miguel
is a different kind of breed, bro. Like, that's what I really admire about him as a musical and as like a person. Like, he'll tell you straight up, like, I asked him a couple questions like off the air, and he told me straight up, like, nah, bro, I don't gatekeep. Like, if you need this, go here. If you need that, go there. And since he also like clean shoes and everything, I was showing him my shoes, and he was like, you know what, bro, I'll throw one on the house, and then we'll go from there. And like, he really does, like, he'll actually try to help you out exactly what you're doing right now, which is amazing, bro. Like, I haven't seen this like in years, dude. Like, and it's true, like what you're saying about gatekeeping. Like it's not even like a restaurant, bro. Like you want to gatekeep us like something. It's your favorite spot, you know.
Yeah.
You like your sushi here and there, and it looks bomb. Like, who gatekeep that? But like, I gente con hambre, you know, like people that want to strive and go out there and be somebody. And everything you said about like people just like putting a roadblock on them, it's kind of like frustrating, like, because you see artists machinrin like on top, and then just because they don't want to do, or they want them to do a certain thing, they're like, I feel like gatekeeping purposely puts them up again and then just keeps them down, like climaxing, like go up, and then when you're down, and it's hard to get up because you're signed to a label and you're there and you're valued at a certain price.
So I mean, that's kind of why the Vibrant Village came about, because one of my boys growing up, he had everything to become a successful musician. He had it all, and because of some bad signings, bad contracts, but at the same time, he's so young that he's not going to understand what somebody's putting in front of him. That's what I hate, and I hated seeing that he was going through, is that these labels come and start name dropping, like, well, we work with so and so artists, and we work with so and so artists that you see on the TV or on YouTube all the time, the big people.
Yeah.
And they like to use them to like name drop,
like to hook you in.
To hook you, obviously with materialistic things, flashing a watch, flashing designer clothes, flashing these cars and stuff. And, they just want to make you think how you feel in the moment. Like, oh my God, like I'll have all that I wanted all my life. And, I'll have everything that I dreamed of and whatnot. And it's like, you will temporarily have it, but it's not guaranteed or anything, and at the same time, it doesn't tell you how long you'll have that for, and seeing him go through all that and kind of all the stuff that he just went through overall, and has, kind of like you said, roadblocked him from becoming what he should have been. It's kind of what made me be like, screw that. Like, somebody has to be in this industry that will at least call it out, or prevent it from happening. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we do. We wanted to, since I know a little bit about law and everything, anytime anybody brings up a contract or anything like that, I'll gladly review it for them for free and see, in between the lines that they don't really see, or what certain things that are worded weirdly or differently, I'm able to see and be like, okay, this is what this means overall. When it says like, oh, like your masters, people don't know some artists don't even know what masters are probably, all the young ones, and that's where they trick you. So overall, we just want to help stop that. And that's kind of why we made the Vibrant Village.
We're going to head a different direction for now.
Yeah.
When me and you started talking on Instagram, you gave me a little brief description like of who you are, because obviously you talk about Vibrant Village and that's all you're dedicated for. So it's not your personal Instagram. But you did give me a fun fact, which I think is pretty cool. You worked for the Phoenix Suns. What did that teach you about the industry?
It taught me a lot. I think that's kind of where I first saw that I had like the possibility of working within the music industry was like a reality. I got that job during the end of the pandemic, thanks to school. They sent an email like, oh, like they're hiring security guards at the Phoenix Suns. We feel like all you people that major in criminology would be a good opportunity for you guys to apply and get that job. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But pretty much I applied. I got the job. I worked the season that they actually went to the finals. So that was a pretty cool overall experience. But, regardless of that, what was cool was working the concerts. And that played a very big motivation into me doing the music stuff, because I was... sorry, go ahead.
Who did you get to see?
I was about to go into that.
Oh, okay.
I got to work many concerts, but the ones that I actually worked like the floor with their locker rooms and got to like interact at least a little bit with was Bad Bunny, Fuerza Regida when they came and did their first arena tour, Korn, System of a Down, and the big one was J. Cole.
Sick. So working for the Suns, was that just for that arena? Because you know how Chase Field's like down the street. Did you get to work with them as well?
No, it was just for the Suns arena overall. So anything that was basketball, charity events, concerts, that's what I would do overall. And I guess like tying into the question of how that motivated everything was, especially after like when I met J. Cole. J. Cole's like one of my favorite artists growing up. Me and like all my boys, we love J. Cole. Like, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Very, very big fan of him. And when that came up that I got to meet him, he said hello to me. We interacted for like 5 seconds, but still, like the fact that I was there, I took it as like a calling from God almost. Like, I'm being placed in these positions with all these people that like I looked up to or admire, I'm a fan of. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I feel like I'm in the position for a reason. Like he put me there to be like, look, you're very close to like what you want to do in life. Probably not in the position that you want to be, but it's doable because I was able to see like, oh, these people have managers, these people have marketers, these people have a touring team, these people have all these people that do all this stuff that you don't see behind the scenes or you don't know because you just go seeing the artist.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, that's kind of what, showing me like, okay, like it's possible to be here. I'm already here, so I just need to go to those other positions that I want to be in life.
Where are you guys taking Vibrant Village? Next,
man, to wherever it goes, I guess. Ultimately, like, we're not a label right now, because we're really not. But eventually we do want to be like a label to, sign our own artists and move them correctly, properly, market them right, and just give everybody a fair shot overall that a lot of people don't get when they sign to some labels. So that's what we want to do eventually, help people know how to like release music. That's a big thing we want to like be known for eventually one day, is if we are a label, is to just give people the rights to drop music whenever the fuck they want. Like we don't care. Like, I think it's very important to drop music whenever you want. When I see people that they say like, oh, I can't drop this because of the label, or they're not clearing it for me, they're shelving it or whatever, it's like, that's dumb. Why? So that's what we want to be eventually. It's just something where it just gives artists like a complete freedom in what they want to do and what they want to release, how they want to look. We don't care. Just want to give people the freedom for that one day.
So I'm asking you a couple fast firing questions, and it can be overall favorite artist right now.
Man, that is a very tough question. That changes like every day. Favorite artist right now? Damn, I'm trying to think. I'm gonna say Playboi Carti.
Playboi Carti?
Yeah.
Dude, I used to play Playboi Carti all the time in high school. For some reason, like, that was my phase.
Yeah, I mean, Mika doesn't like when I bring up Playboi Carti and stuff, because he's he's an old head. He likes the older stuff. But
yeah,
I was a big fan of Playboi Carti ever since like 2016, and that's another inspiration for me, because I saw him come from a typical SoundCloud rapper doing little ballrooms to when he came back in 21. That's when he dropped Whole Lotta Red, introduced the world to a whole different style and genre of rage, and he was selling out amphitheaters at that point. And recently, this past year, I went to go see him twice here and in Vegas.
Oh, hell yeah.
Selling out arenas, because he kept sticking to what he wanted to do.
He was consistent, yeah. He had one goal and he achieved it.
Yeah, he was consistent. Not only that, but he introduced the world to like a new style, and he was himself. Not just that, but he was able to create his own label of his vision, and it worked. It went from little arenas, like I said, to selling out arena, or not little arenas, but little theaters to selling out arenas.
That's a goal, bro, like to aim for.
Yeah, and a lot that I do, I really do take it from him, because what helped him grow tremendously was the leaking his own music. He knew he had a fan base, a very, very dedicated fan base, and what he would do is get people to leak his songs. So he would feed his fan base, and while dealing with the whole thing with the label and whatever they think is perfect, or what they want to drop, he just focused on feeding the fan base, dropping leaks, dropping visuals, making it seem like it's very exclusive. And it's like as a fan, when you find stuff, when you come across an unreleased song or things like that, it's just like, oh shit, like hell yeah, like fuck yeah. So that's kind of what we want to do too eventually. Like we're kind of doing. If you dig in the page good enough, you might find something, a little surprise here and there, but that's kind of what we want to do too. But a big inspiration for sure, him, for me at least.
One artist you'd like to work with,
like locally, or
anybody, dead or alive?
Damn, that
opens more.
Draco the Ruler. I'm a really big Draco the Ruler fan, so if I would have had the opportunity to work with him, that would have been amazing. We just actually did a feature with OTM, who they were kind of artists that he co-signed and were a part of his team at one point. So we got a feature coming up with them, and just working with them in general, group that was associated with like Draco the Ruler, was pretty cool. So if it would have been with him himself, God, that would have been amazing.
Man, that's how I felt when I had Miguel on. I was like, man, this was connected with like almost all these tech lab grupos in Cali and literally nationwide.
Yeah.
So just having him here, I'm just like, damn, I'm with somebody that was around Caimanes, Juniors. Like, I mean, they made songs with Juniors. Yeah. So I feel you on that.
Yeah.
One word for your journey.
Underdog.
Yeah.
Underdog.
That one's new. Other than Vibrant Village and working, every weekend, is there any other things like you like to do on your spare time?
I mean, I like to travel and just, I guess, be about, just travel. I like to travel a lot, I guess. I like to travel a lot. But, I just really like to enjoy the music stuff overall. I mean, that's, my girlfriend's even said it, like, ever since I started doing some of this music stuff, like, I come back very, like, happy and very, like, excited and stuff. Or when I describe it and everything, it's so exciting because when I was, doing my time at my first like sales job, thankfully, nothing to be bad about or anything, but I was making a lot of money and making good money and doing a lot of stuff that I always dreamed about doing. But I had a thing where after one time that we had like a vacation, I kind of asked myself, like, going back to my job, just like, damn, is this something I really want to do for the rest of my life? Like, cool, like, you travel and everything, you did everything, and it's just like, but at the end of the day, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? And it was just like, no, like, I want to work in music. Like, that's what I want to do. So the fact that I'm doing that now in my spare time, I can't be mad about that.
Shit. I feel like I breezed right over Autoridad Elegante and Mad. I've seen Autoridad Elegante on social media, and they have great potential to be one of these, like, a good team out there.
Yeah, they're one of the groups that I really want to get on the podcast. I'm not going to tell too much of their story, but they're one of those groups that dealt with a label and had their issues with the label and how that kind of set them back a little bit. But no, they're very talented. We came across through them at Rancho Ochoa when Desconocidos were playing.
Oh, okay.
And when we went on stage to give them a flash drive or something, they went on stage performing, and they were performing one of their own songs. And immediately I was just standing there like, who's that and what song is that?
Yeah.
And immediately reached out to them. We came to an agreement. I went to go see them live at their house. They played, they set up and like played for me. And right away I was like, dude, like, these guys are so good. Like, holy shit. Like, I've never heard of them before, but they're really good. So, and they play a lot of the new style stuff, all that tumbado stuff and everything. Like, it's so clean and fire. And like, I was just like, bro, we gotta do something with them, because there's no way that, I didn't know about them until I saw them live. So we gotta do something about that.
Yeah, esperanlo pronto. We are working to get something together have them on, have other groups on, obviously, and also Mad.
Yeah.
So Mad is a rapping group, you said?
Yeah, MAD. They're called Making a Dream. It's 2 members specifically, but yeah, some young cats that are coming up that want to be rappers. One of Miga's friends introduced us to them, and it was awesome because they came up to us and were just like, look, like, we want to start a career and we want to start, rapping, but we don't know how to like debut it or market it or anything. So we kind of got together and made a kind of like a plan for them, a little blueprint on how we could do that for them and help them. Mm-hmm. And so we got everything in place. They've been in studio putting in the work, and we got some good stuff coming out with them. For those people that like rap and that West Coast stuff, you'll like them. They're really good.
What's something you're working on right now that people should be excited about?
I'd say the exclusives and the leaks. I have a lot of throwaway songs, so you'll be seeing them around some platforms, and all I'll say is for those fans is to do some digging on the page, or keep an eye out on the stories as well, because at times I'll post a story and be like, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., whoever hits me up, I'll send you an unreleased song. I'll send you an exclusive song or a throwaway song, anything that not everybody else is going to have. So I'm excited to post some of that music and just posting content overall.
Well, one thing before we end this, what does success look like to you personally?
I guess just waking up and being able to do what you want to do and being able to survive from it, I guess. My success isn't, Rolexes or Bentleys or mansions or anything like that. Like, that's why I lay low, because none of that stuff really calls my attention. My success is just waking up and doing something. You're able to take care of your family, and, you're happy doing it. You're doing it, you're doing your passion, and that's what I describe as success.
Well, is there anything you want to promote, you can look in that camera right now and give your promos out.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to follow us on The Vibrant Village Music on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. Other than that, give Los Desconocidos del Valle. If you don't follow them already, go ahead and follow them because they got a lot of great stuff coming up. Autoridad Elegante too, I'll go ahead and plug them because we're going to be dropping a lot of stuff with them as well. And MAD Making a Dream, like I said, keep in touch with that because they'll be dropping music here very soon.
I'm over here saying mad when it's MAD.
No, well, MAD, mad, whatever, don't matter.
Well, yeah, like he said, guys, I'm gonna put all the socials down below and go follow. Like he said, man, go follow Desconocidos. Like I'm a fan of them. Like I tell Miguel every time, like ese grupo tiene un futuro grande. Like as soon because I've heard of them years ago.
Yeah,
like I think cuando lo empezó, like he was se oía el movimiento.
Yeah, I mean
they took out El Cholo.
Yeah,
and then that's when I just started like, you know what, like saving all their music, all their lives, and dude, like they get down, bro. Like people, I don't know, like for me personally, I always play them. They're in my playlist, and I'm gonna check out Autoridad Elegante también because on your socials, like they didn't balls, like
yeah, they get down. They play very clean, and I guess to kind of give you a nice little like story, I guess before we ended. So you can see the kind of person that Miguel is. When I was in high school, I think it was like a freshman, Miguel at that time had already graduated and was working his warehouse job at night. And for some time he had mentioned like, oh, like I really want to start like some Canelo stuff. I want to do something like Canelo style. And when I would go over to his house, because I would hang out with his little brother, I'd go over to his house. He would be watching TV and listening to like Los Caimanes and Los Juniors when they had like Basilio and stuff, like the OG Juniors and all these Decla groups. And one day specifically, we went to a party that his little brother invited me to, and Miguel was there with his now wife. And while we were at the party, they had the Rocola, and he was telling his like uncle or whoever, like, hey, like put some Canelos on. Like I want to listen to some Canelos. Put some Canelos, unos Canelazos. And his little brother was like, nah, like that's boring. Like that's boring. And we left the party, got in the car, and he was taking me home. And he was listening to Canelos in his car. Like he's a really big fan of them, if you haven't told by now. But he's a really big fan of them, and he was just like listening to the music. I see todo that, and then he like turns it down and looks at his wife, and it's just like, babe, I'm telling you, I'm gonna start a Canelo grupo here. He's like, I'm gonna be the first one. He's like, I'm gonna start a grupo, and we're gonna be one of the first people to do it. He's like, and it's gonna work, watch. And his little brother in the back again's like, nah, like that's boring, like who cares, and whoop-de-whoop. And it was whatever. And to see now where he's at and everything, it's insane. Like it just shows a lot about him and his work ethic and mindset. Like he really believed in it, stuck to it, and it worked.
Oh yeah, dude. One thing for sure, I want to say thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming, and I respect what you guys are doing, and especially like you guys are doing it very distinctively from like everybody. Like it's night and day difference what you guys are doing with these artists and working with Desconocidos. Make sure you guys tap in with Vibrant Village Music, show some love, and stay locked in because they're really building something different. As always, this is the nonsense of no confidence. Poco a poco, vamos avanzando.
Aceleraba tronando el tostón. Un equipo para pelear siempre a la